situated here. Make sure that the microphone's turned on and we're good to go. Hopefully, everybody's having a great weekend and you are getting ready to just enjoy your Sunday at church. So, if you can hear me just fine, thumbs up in the chat. That would be appreciated. Looks like everything's hooked up good. So, we will see who all joins us tonight and get this live stream rolling here. So drop in your questions into the chat and we will do the best that we can to answer them and get you all carrying on. So Cheeky Fast, thank you very much for joining. I greatly appreciate that. And looks like it's just us at the moment. Hey, there we go. We got a Mr. Rumble Shorts. Sound is good. Thank you. All right. Awesome. Off to a good start. And I checked my internet before we connected, and everything's good. So we should not have any laggy issues. Hopefully everything runs smooth. All right. So today was a nice, different, typical type of Indiana day. We had some rain, a little bit of chilliness in the morning, and then it kind of dried out a little bit. People got out, mowed the grass. I had to do a few things. Went to the store, did some shopping, and came back. I was like, okay, it's about 4 o'clock. I think I can get the the grass mowed before the live stream. And of course, the rain came. But thankfully, it was a short-lived, and it didn't really drench, so I was able to get my grass mowed. So successful Saturday. So here we are. Kind of questions you all have, anything to discuss. We are open to pretty much anything. Just keep it civil is all I ask, and I'll do the best I can to answer. Waiting for that first question. Hello to all that have said hello. So I really don't have anything planned for tonight. It's all up to you all. So whatever you want to discuss. Any ARIA competitor headphones coming out over the next 3 months? Not that I am aware of. Now, Hi-Fi Man has come out with a couple of newer headphones, but I'm not sure of the price points. You have the Audiophile, you have the, which is a closed back ARIA with kind of, or HE1000. Not exactly sure which one it's based off of. As far as other manufacturers, I'm not sure. Headphones competitive to the ARIA. That's a good one. You have stumped me on that. I do want to hear the Audiophile, though. The thing would be awesome. All right, let's see. What else we got? Did you hear about the KZ HBB PR2 collab? For $36. Yep, but guess what? It's a KZ, so I'm not going to review it. Cheeky, yeah, you're welcome. I'll keep my eyes open for that. Hopefully we can get some sort of I can get some information for you and get back in regards to that, because I am very curious. Audiophile looks to be about 2K. Yeah, so it's gonna be a little bit more, whereas ARIA comes in depending on where you live, 1200, 1700 or so. So that would be interesting. Blink, yeah, it's kind of about that. Also, shady business practices, marketing that's very skeptical and not fully accurate, and it's just not good business, in my experience, in my opinion. And they haven't really done anything to change that, and it's just the same old, same old. So, yeah, it's not really something that I want to get involved in. I'd rather deal with more honest companies. 2K for a headphone is nuts unless you have the hearing of an owl. Well, I must have the hearing of an owl because I have several $2,000 headphones. Why have you heard about the Blessing 3? I've heard mixed feelings about it. Some love it. Some say it's an improvement. Some say it's kind of a little different flavor. I haven't had one offered yet to be sent in, so I've asked around. Hopefully, I can get one in for review. Seems interesting. I've been told to kind of keep it in the holding pattern, and when one becomes available. All right, so Jeff has confirmed that I'm an owl. I've got pointy hair. Don't really have the ears, and I can't turn my neck all the way around. Let's see here. What else we got? What are your favorite IEM tips? My favorite IEM tips. I have quite a few. Some of my go-tos. CTM Flexi tips I like a lot. Try Clarion tips I like. JVC Spiral Dots. Let's see, what else do we have that I use quite a bit? Those are the ones that come to mind right off the top of my head. But there's a lot. Oh, Final Type E tips also get used quite a bit. Let's see. Cheeky. A year ago, I couldn't imagine spending $2K on a headphone, but then I started thinking about spending $600 to $800. Now I'm up to the $1,200 price point for DAC and amp, and so I'm in the $2,000 range. Yeah, that's how it happens. Let's see. Ty Macho. I recently bought the Mest Mark II. Cool. I've heard good things. Have not heard the Mest Mark II. Would love to. Let's see. IEM tips or IEM tips. You get both here. I can recommend the tip, or I can give you a tip for the IEM. Let's see. If you had to recommend only one IEM under $50, what would it be? Well, I'll tell you what. I am going to drop my tier list, and you can browse that, and then we will talk about it. So, boom, here we go. Go over here and copy and paste. There you go. And so over on the IEMs, so you can sort it however you would like. And in the IEMs, under $50, let's see here. How do I have them ranked? So depending on what you would like, Tin Hi-Fi T2 is one of my biggest recommendations. I just love it. It's a very good, solid device, even though it's rather getting up there in age. It still holds up very well, neutral and natural sounding, with good detail retrieval, resolution for its price point. Another one that's in the $50 price point that I recommend, let's see, scroll up here, is that would be kind of my default one. If you like a different type of fit and experience, you could always go with Koss KSC 75s, but they're not for everybody. They're not the most comfortable, but they are a different type of experience. And then there's a lot of others in there that I enjoy that you can just sort through on that tier list that I dropped. $50 and under, that's a very competitive neighborhood in the IEM world. But do keep in mind, my ranking grades are completely different than others. And so A means awful, B means bad, C means it's a contender, D means it's delicious, and E means it's excellent. So keep that in mind when you're looking at my grade, because it's totally different than everybody else. All right, so let's go back to the questions here. Let's see. Lori, RHAs used to be a favorite. I too like those, but they often don't fit on the newer IEMs. The nozzles seem to be a little bit larger now. Yeah, some of the nozzles are bigger. Plus, RHA tips aren't available. They have discontinued. So as far as I know, but yeah, if you can find them, they're actually very good tips for some of the smaller sized nozzles for sure. Why are electrostats not common? A couple of reasons. Number one, the technology is very difficult to produce. It's pretty expensive. Especially in like the energizers and stuff that power them, because it's totally different than amplifiers. And some of the other aspects of them, they're rather large diaphragms and things like that. That's why they're kind of rare, amongst other things. Some other people may have some other reasonings. Let's see. Just put together a desk system. You have the FIO K7, the Fosse BT20A Pro, and you have a 48 volt 5 amp on order. That's on order. Okay. And then a Mica RB42s, nice Edifier T5s. Would a different sub make a huge difference? Okay, not much of a speaker guy. I will just put out that disclaimer. As far as subwoofers, placement kind of makes a difference, and also the way that it fires. If it's front firing or down firing will make a difference depending on what type of carpet or flooring that you have or where you have it positioned. Also, size of the subwoofer can make a difference, and the way that you can position the crossovers also makes a huge difference. So, but with the RB42s, I'm not sure if a subwoofer would make that huge of a difference. If you're noticing that you're really lacking something in the bass and it just doesn't feel like it's full, the first thing I would do is I would change your positioning of the subwoofer, place it in a different place, see if that helps. If that doesn't help, then if you can change your crossovers with it, try changing that, and also your volumes, because a lot of times that will make a difference as well. If none of those options work, then explore a different subwoofer. But with the RB42, you're probably pretty safe with about any subwoofer, as long as it's decently powered. Okay, let's see here. But you're off to a good start with that system. The K7 is a very nice DAC amp and preamp, and I've heard good things about the Fosse. I haven't heard it, but the Fosse, some other reviewers just fell in love with it for its price tag. Okay, let's see here. Ty Macho, the Mess Mark II are really good. I could even try the 64 Audio U12T and compare between them, and he preferred the Mess Mark II. That's awesome. A lot of people like the U12T. It is a different flavor of an IEM. I have heard it quite a while ago at an audio show, but I didn't have an opportunity to hear the Mess Mark II. I'll spit it out. Where's my drink? There it is. So that's interesting that you liked it over U12T. I think a lot of people would reverse that, so that's kind of cool. Oh, by the way, just before the question comes, this is iced coffee. The roast that I'm using is made by, I think it's Suvi or Cuvee. It's Cuvee. I don't really know how to pronounce their name. I think it's Cuvee, whatever. But anyways, that's the roast that I'm using. All right, let's see here. And it does have a little bit of butterscotch mixed in, along with a little bit of cream, just to make it kind of a nice coffee. All right, let's see. On a whim, got the AKG N505s. They were on sale for $199. That's not much. Not too bad of a price, actually. Excuse me. Not expecting much. Absolutely blown away. Can't stop listening. Currently prefer them to mega spend IEMs like the 6.4 audio UMs or campfires. Interesting. Pizza for Mac. I actually haven't heard the N505, but everybody talks about them being really good whenever they hear them. They like take them by surprise. So that's kind of cool. Let's see. James, I had my ears cleared of wax buildup on Friday. Cool. Gross, but cool. Glad that you were able to get that. I know that sounds yucky, but the difference of for headphones and speakers is amazing. As a 58-year-old, don't overlook the non-shake. Excuse me. Don't overlook this non-snake oil tweak. I would imagine it probably does help. I am I take care of my ears quite a bit, like using Q-tips and cleaning them and using oils and things like that. But I would imagine probably it might make a difference to get it a little cleared out. I've never had that process done. Sounds nasty, but I would imagine that you would probably hear some sort of difference. Just like eyes, getting glasses or things like that, you definitely can see a slight difference in improvement, even if you just get different glasses every year. The small differences do make a difference. I'm not a doctor though. That's just me surmising. Mr. Rumble Shorts, you're very welcome. Let's see here, Ahmad. Why the escalator sounds glassy digital in songs, and what solves that? Well, that would be a sibilance. And that would come down to a lot of different things that can fix that. So, sibilance can be fixed with different types of sources, and it can be fixed. Some of it is natural. If you just speak a Sammy spit, you can hear the S. Um, so there's a bit of it that's natural, but a lot of gear that is too clean, or overly elevated in the 5 to 8K regions will really heavily pronounce that. And there's a lot of glassiness to it, as you said. So a little bit more natural type of sound, and you can eliminate that. You could always try to EQ it, which I don't recommend, but you could. The warmer sources, different types of configurations of drivers sometimes do a little bit better, but it most often comes down to the implementation and the tuning. Also, recordings and the way they're mixed and mastered can really show it off, as well. So there's a lot to it, to the sibilance. Um, but if you're talking about IEMs, you could change tips that might work, or change your source. Headphones, you could try different, or also with IEMs, a cable change from like a silver cable to a copper cable, or a hybrid cable that might tweak it just a little bit. Same thing with headphones. You could try different pads if they're able to change pads. You could try a different cable. Subtle differences could fix your sibilance issue, but amplifiers and DACs are pretty much probably where you would get the majority of your fixing in that regard. Plus EQ if you really want to, but I'm not a proponent of EQ. Let's see. Getting back onto the Mess Mark II, Ty Macho Goran says that the Mess Mark II is a bit more punchy and looks better than the U12T. Now I will give you that. Look wise, the Mess Mark II is a looker. U12T is a little bit more on the bland side. So yeah, I'll give you that. James says earwax and oily is a problem for life because he is Latin. Interesting. I'll take your word for it. Let's see. Okay, so Carmine out with the other one, two. I'm lost. Carmine, can you explain that? Did I miss something? I don't see your message from above, so if I missed something, sorry about that. Let's see. Uh, Ty Macho says about the U12T, he didn't like the idea of that replaceable part. I do know that the U12T is more technical, but I actually preferred the more laid back sound of the Mess Mark II. Totally understand that. Let's see. There's also the idea of having an IEM that has 4 different types of drivers in each side. Yeah, those unique hybrids are pretty cool. Oh, you're missing out. You have to have pizza. Enjoy your pizza and coffee there, Carmine. I have not pizza for Mac. Speaking of, I have not had the opportunity to hear the Odyssey Maxwell. Looks like it's an interesting headphone, um, especially for like gaming. Might be a good option. A little bit of competition for some Sennheisers and things like that. Let's see. I've never heard you review any campfires. Pricey to be sure, but any other reason? They've never sent them to me. Um, I've asked Campfire on several occasions if any are available for review, if I could be added to tours, and crickets. All right, let's see here. Ahmad says, between natural and clinical, what do you choose, and what deck is your favorite? Natural deck. Okay, so for me, I actually like both neutral and natural, and I like them to be together. And I think that they do play together. Um, there is a difference between a neutral, like what they call neutral DACs, in which they elevate it and they make it squeaky clean, and it's just like this bright clinical sound. And that, to me, that's not neutral. It neutral has ups and downs. If you truly listen to music, and truly listen to voice and everything out in the open and in the natural setting, neutral goes like this. Okay, it's not a flat board, but a lot of times people, the manufacturers that say this is neutral, it's like this flat sound. So I add neutral and natural because natural's kind of got the ups and downs too, and so I combine them together. Um, so neutral and natural for me would be what's sitting behind me, which is a Mytek Liberty DAC 2. And then amplifier would also be the Mytek um, HPA. It's a THX AAA 788 edition. It's called the HPA. Another amplifier that adds a little bit more of a natural side of things and isn't quite as clinical as the HPA is the Headamp GSX Mini. And I think both of those pair very well with the Mytek Liberty DAC 2. Do a review in a few weeks on the Mytek HPA. Exceptionally good amplifier. So if you go to my Honest Audiophile terms and definitions guide, let's drop that into the stream chat here. I'll give you the official Honest Audiophile terms for neutral and natural. So for me, natural is realism, reproduced sound that matches everyday real life audio. All right. And neutral is reproduced sound that's free of colorization that is not natural. So they play together. So neutral is everything that you hear without all the extra stuff being added in. And then naturalism is the sound that matches your everyday life. When these other amplifiers and DACs come out and they're like, this is neutral, and they make it like you're in a echo chamber, or, or not an echo chamber, an anechoic chamber, it is just too brittle and too thin sounding, and it just doesn't sound natural and accurate, and it doesn't sound neutral either. That's just me. That's my thoughts on it. Okay, so let's see here. I recently purchased a Shit Lear 2, new and unboxed, and you have the Hi-Fi and Sondoras. Nice. Haven't heard the Lear 2, but I like the Sondoras. Any tube recommendations? Not much of a tube guy. And I don't use the Sondoras on the tube. Now, the Lear 2 is a tube amp, if I remember correctly, right? Let me look. Shitaudio.com. Okay, so Lear. What does it come with? I can't remember which tube. Wow, this is hard to read. Um, Interesting. They don't mention it. Well, first, I would try it with the one that they provide, see if you like it. And then if you don't, I'm gonna play dummy and say ask somebody else. Honestly, I'm not much of a tube guy. I tried to get into them, and I have my Tor Audio Roger, and that's about it that I stick with. And I'm pretty much a noob when it comes to tubes. So sorry about that. I just have to be honest and open about that. All right, let's see here. Jeff, I have the Afu Performer 5s, 7 hertz zeros, and the 7 hertz Dioko, the Truthier Zero, and the Truthier Hexa. Is there something good but different that I should try? Say under $300? Yeah, Moondrop Kato. Um, and also, you could try the Kiwi Ears Orchestra Light. The JQ4U Pro. Let's see, what's another one under 300? Is that one? Let's see, you could do a 7 hertz Eternal. No, I'm sorry, not Eternal. The 7 hertz Timeless. I'm sorry, I was looking at my page. So the Timeless, not the Eternal. Um, $300. You could try the under $300. C Audio Bravery would be also another one that you could add in there. And yeah, the other one's 350. So yeah, there you go. There's some recommendations for 300 or less. Okay, let's see what else we got here. Okay, so whoa, lots of questions here. All right, so let's see. Maybe $500 if it's really worth it. Oh, sure. You can get some really good upgrades if you really want to spend $500. You could get Zen's Mangard Top. You could go with the Moondrop Variations. Let's see what else you got for that price tag. I want something a little different that's like good for like metal music and hard rock type stuff. You can go with the Oravetti 0400. Want a little bit more natural type of sound. You could go with the Oravetti 0500. Yeah, there you go. And that gets you into the price point of the Zen's Mangard T2. Okay, so let's see, back over here. I see your ranking list, Ty Macho Gorin S. I see your ranking list and see plus and minuses. Since A is worse, E is best, does the plus and minus also, is it reversed? No. So it works like a grade. So A, let's say it's awful. Okay, so A is like right in the middle. A plus means it's a little bit better than mediocre, and A minus is the worst of the worst. It's just the worst of the awfuls. A plus will mean it's bordering to the bottom of the next letter up. And then when you get an E, if you get an E plus, things awesome can't be beat. Okay, let's see. Let's see. Pizza for Mac. I used to want neutral. Now I prefer a warmer DAC. Yeah. So to me, what that's saying is you're preferring a neutral natural sound over just plain old neutral. What the general consensus is by vendors is that, what neutral is, which is that cold, um, brittle, analytical, pierce your ears type of sound, which is not actually natural. So you're looking for a natural neutral sound. Pizza for Mac, you prefer AKs over ESS. I actually like some AK chips, but I prefer ESS. To me, Saber chips are the newer ones. Seem to be a little bit more implemented and have that neutral, natural type of sound, whereas AKs can have that as well. But some of them can be a little bit overly too warm for my preference and what I believe would be a true natural sound. But I get what you're saying. James, that comes with rubbish stock tubes. Fair enough. Yeah, I'm not sure what tube the Lear 2 comes with. Most manufacturers don't give high quality tubes, at least from what I've experienced. But you'll just have to look it up and kind of research and ask somebody else. It's just kind of sorry. It's not really something that I can give. Let's see. Jeff, you're welcome for the suggestions. Um, James, thanks for understanding. Let's see. Do you prefer to use your favorite Mytek Liberty with an internal amp or with the external one? And what is the difference? So with the Mytek 2, Liberty 2, as the DAC, I don't mind the headphone amplifier on it. It is a very good amplifier a for an all-in-one, and it is a little bit limited on power. It's got pretty decent power, but if you needed to really drive something hard, it might not be able to do it. Um, with the HPA, the external amplifier that I have now, or a GSX Mini, you do get a little bit extra because the amplifier is doing a little bit more as well. Plus, they're more powerful. But it still sounds like the Mytek. You don't notice like a big, huge difference. Like, wow, that was way warmer, or that's nothing like that. Where I'm noticing the differences is the GSX Mini adds in just a little bit of naturalism, and you get just a little bit of like a warmer tint to it, and it also seems to push forward the mids just a little bit, whereas the HPA is a little more revealing, and is a little bit more direct in its presentation, and it matches very well with the Mytek Liberty DAC 2, giving this overall natural feel. But if you want a little bit more body and a little bit more character, the GSX Mini paired with it is a little bit better. So it kind of depends on what you're looking for. I find the HPA to be the more analytical one, which is the more revealing of different sources. It reveals whatever's plugged into it. Also, it portrays the headphones or the IEMs I'm using a little bit better, whereas the GSX Mini kind of adds a little hint of its own flavor, if that makes sense. But I can definitely tell that I have a DAC, a Liberty, Mytek Liberty DAC in it. Okay, so to answer your questions, I mostly use external amps, and I use the Liberty DAC 2 as the DAC. There. For the $500 price range, you have the Variations SA6 Mark II. I haven't heard the SA6 Mark II. Would love to get one in for a review. I've heard some really good things about it. What's your favorite dynamic only IEM? Ooh, that is a good question. Can it have multiples, or can it only be a single dynamic? So we will start with single dynamics only. Let's see. Hold on. I have to sort the. Come on. Okay, gotta click them all off. All right. Got so many options here. Bear with me a moment. I will get you your answer. All right, so single dynamics only. Hmm. That is going to take me a moment here. Do apologize. Still trying to click off all these others. Come on. Sorry, my mouse is not working very well tonight. Um, okay, almost to the bottom of the list. Okay, I think that one. Let's see. Take that off. Take that off. For some reason, I have dynamic and then I have DD. I don't know why I sorted it that way. All right, so and then let's sort it this way. And the most favorite dynamic. Let's see. We have Moondrop Kato, Thea Audio Elixir. So what else do we have? Those are the two. And if I had to choose between those two, I would go Kato. Elixir is a little more fun. Kato is a little bit more what I prefer as sound signature. So there you go. There is the answer for you. Sorry it took forever to come up with that answer. Let's see. Now I have to add all those back. Let's see. Clear all filters. There we go. Clear. Come on. There we go. Select all. Okay. Next question. Good question. I cannot remember all like all of the IEMs I've heard or headphones exactly like what headphones are easier than IEMs, what their configurations are. I know some guys have like this memory that can just keep track. Well, I can't. Um, all right, let's see. What's your favorite movie? I have several. We can do some different genres. So, favorite Christmas movie is It's a Wonderful Life. Um, favorite comedy. If I was to just pick out a comedy to watch, it would be Tommy Boy. If I'm going to pick like a secondary comedy, it would be Grumpy Old Man. Favorite action movies. I actually am very much a Rambo fan, so pretty much all of the Rambos would fall under that category. Um, Sci-fi. I'm a Star Trek lover, so it would probably be one of the Star Trek movies. Probably one of the remakes would be one of my favorites, and then also I'm a huge fan of Alien. Love Alien movie. My wife hates it. um, if you were to do like some sort of historical type, or even if it's fictional, but somewhere like a medieval type of times. I love the movie Gladiator. Also, so I mean, there's all kinds. I have all sorts of favorite movies, but those would be the ones that I would really watch. I can sit and watch Rambo's all day long. I can watch Star Trek's all day long. Um, so, let's see. Um, what else we got? Have you tried the Sony IER M9? I don't recall hearing the M9. Um, just one. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I already answered that. Your favorite DD. All right. So, hello, Quantum. How are you doing tonight? Let's see here. FD5 is a great single dynamic for much less money. The triple one Olinas or yeah, for your budgets. Um, let's see. Any $600 DAC amp that you consider neutral natural. I have to go back to my list. Give me a second. So go to DAC amp and sort. Let's see what comes up in that price point. You go with a Shed Audio Bifrost 2. It's a little bit on the warmer side, but you'd be in that neutral, naturalish kind of with a little bit warmer of a hint, R2R-ish, well, multi-bit. You could go with a Burst Audio Playmate 2. That one also is a little bit on the warmer side, but you can change out the op amps in that one and make it kind of meet your own sound signature that you would like. Let's see. But the one that is coming up soon in a review, actually, is coming out Tuesday. I don't want to spoil it too much, but you could go with the Hi-Fi Man EF400. And I think, yeah, Soakers is more expensive. So those would be kind of where I would kind of be leaning for in that price point. Okay, Christopher, thank you very much for the coffee. Appreciate it. I am drinking iced coffee tonight, so I appreciate that. Let's see here. You're very welcome, Gil Reynard. Pizza for Maggie. You can watch Die Hard anytime. Well, yeah, Die Hard is actually up there too for me. Really like that. There was just a connection that, and some just the quotes that come out of the Die Hard movies are just classics. You can just throw them out there anytime. Gil Renard, just wanted something different from my collection, and I wanted to discover if the supposed cohesion benefits of a 1DD IEM is a real thing. Some of them can be very well implemented. Others, it just kind of depends, and it price point matters when it comes to single dynamic. I find, and actually, I find that comes with anything, no matter what the configuration is. Implementation, there, I'll spit it out, is very, very important. And if manufacturers, you can mess up anything, no matter how good the driver is. If you don't tune it properly and implement it correctly, it's going to sound like rubbish. Let's see. RM, hey, are you experienced in high-end USB cables for a DAC? Not really. So the most high-end USB DAC that cable that I have is the one that's connected to my Mytek Liberty. And do I hear a difference? No. Maybe I haven't heard the right USB cable. But it's a Wire World. And then also the stock one that comes with the Mytek, which is like their Meteor or Metropolis. That's it. Cable. Sure. Yeah, Metropolis. That's what it is. They sound nice. I mean, I don't notice anything different other than build. um, I believe. Let's put it this way. I believe more in cables for headphones and IEMs making a difference than a USB cable making a difference. Now, if you're using some really cheapy thing, you paid $1 for, you'd probably hear a difference. But most stock USB cables, it, that's really hard to prove. All right, let's see here. Um, have you tried the Mytek Liberty THX amp? It's right here. Mytek HBA came in last week, and I'm the proud owner. Let's see here. You have the EF400. It's warm. I didn't say that it's not warm. I said that it's a little bit on the more warmish side. It's not the most You have to wait for the review. All right, let's see what we got here. The Java train has no brakes. That's right. I mean, you got to drink coffee all the time. All right, let's see here. Die Hard is the best Christmas movie ever made. Big Sugar, I'm going to allow you to keep that opinion. I think It's a Wonderful Life is the best Christmas movie ever made. Um, let's see. Yeah, Metropolis is the MyTech brand of cables, and it's the one that they include with the Liberty Deck too. It's a nice cable. Um, Ice Harvest is the next best Christmas movie. Never seen it. I'll have to check that out. Can you recommend a cable for the Ananda? Sure. There's all kinds of brands. You could go with Periap. You could go with, um, what's some of the other brands that I have? The uh, the ones that make now the names slip me. Um, Gravedigger. Whoever makes the Gravedigger cables, you can go with them. They're expensive, but sure. I recommend Periap. You could also go with Fog City cables. He makes nice cables for a lot cheaper. You could go with the Opos Flow cables. They come in around 150 bucks or so. Very nice cable for the Anandas. There's all kinds of brands out there, and the majority of them are better built than the crappy ones that Heifman includes. All right, let's see. I have not heard a Modi 3 amp. I'm sorry there. All right, let's see. Yes, warm sound is natural and neutral, but not over relaxed. What is relaxed? Relaxed is where it is too warm and it's just like lush and it kind of rounds things. That's overly warm. In the real world, when you're listening to music, when you're listening to voices, especially depending on where you're at. Now, some things will make it sound a little bright and tinny and things like that, but for the most part, in a setting for music, you have a little bit of natural warmth in the instruments and in the vocalist and in the voice. And that's where it is. So if it becomes a little bit too lush, a little too comfy, and it kind of makes you want to feel like you're going to fall asleep or kick up the feet a little bit more, that type of thing, probably a little too warm. So there's a difference. There is warmth in natural. All right, let's see. A Moon Audio makes good cables. Yes, they actually do. They're pricey. If you can get them on sale, which they have been going on sale lately, um, they make really nice cable. Extremely well built. Do I hear differences in them? That's debatable. Now, if you really want to pay expensive, get Kimber cable. All right, let's see. Corpse cables. That's the name of it. The one with the Gravedigger. Thank you very much. Corpse cables. Um, I have those for my Audizays. I have a corpse cable. Also for my Rawson, I have a corpse cable. Let's see. Fio's USB cables make small improvements in your connection quality. Silver over copper has diminishing returns, but rule of thumb is about 10% improvement. Interesting. Trying to think. K7, when I reviewed it, USB cables, nice. Didn't have any problems. I have had a couple USB cables that have come in that were a little troublesome. Either they didn't fit properly, correctly, or they just didn't like connect. Like I have issues, and I had to change. I had an SMSL that I had to go through about 4 different cables for it actually to go. Oh, you got something plugged in. So yeah, you can have some issues like that, but as far as sound quality, I haven't noticed much of a difference. Other than I couldn't hear anything with the SMSL until I changed the cable. All right, let's see. Has anyone heard Haguji? I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Cables. Nope. RM, hey, you're welcome for the info. Let's see. Taj, you bought one of those Haguki cables because you thought it looked good, but I have no idea how they are built. You know what? A lot of the times cables are more for aesthetics, feel, and look. Now, you can definitely get some differences in sound. I've done a couple write ups, a couple reviews on cables. But I'm not like this gung ho. You've got to change the cable type of guy. But unless it's like terribly feeling and just doesn't feel good, or is too short, or is way too long, or whatever your complaint is about it, maybe the connections are weird or something. um that's usually why I change a cable, but I stick with stock most of the time. All right, let's see here. Corpse cables, Keith. Hoorah. All right, well, what was your first headphone crush? First headphone that really kind of put me into motion, so to speak, was the Barodynamic Custom Studio. That was the one that kind of opened my eyes. And then after that, it kind of, let's see, monoprice M1060. Had to mod those, and they were speakers on a coat hanger. Um, ADV, they made the Alpha way back when. That was a good headphone 4 5 years ago. Don't own it anymore. Audio Technica M40s, and a couple others way back yonder. I need to get another pair of M40s in and do a review of them. All right, let's see. Sony WM1A pairs with the IER M9 is really good. You should try that someday. I still do have my WM1A. All right, let's see. Amon, hey Dave, what do you think about Moondrop Kato and the Afu Performance 5s? What would you recommend? You have a limited budget. Between those two, I would pick the Kato, but the P5 is actually really good as well. I did reviews of both of them. Um, kind of different sound signatures. The Kato is a little bit warmer, more natural sounding. P5 has a little bit brighter of a tint, a little bit more bass. All right, let's see here. Keith. Corp, like the Marine Corps. Gotcha. It's really pronounced that way? Really? Interesting. I thought it was Corp. Okay, so what is everyone's interpretation of natural sound despite the obvious description? Well, I already went over this a little bit, but natural for me is realism. It's a reproduced sound that matches everyday real life audio. It's not sterile. It's not brittle. It's not thin. It sounds like lifelike. And then neutral is reproduce sound that is free of colorization that isn't natural sound. So those are my descriptions. Um, let's see. What what music do you listen to the most? Okay, this is a good question. So for me, the most music that I gravitate to is jazz, classical music. So um, also I listen to a lot of soundtracks, like scores, not like rock music on soundtracks. Um, I'm more of a jazz, classical, and soundtrack person. I do like different versions of jazz, like the progressive and modern jazz is very interesting. The way that they've kind of infused it. Same thing with some of the classical, some of the newer classical composers have kind of gone. It's called progressive classical. Really love that they've added in some electronic type stuff to it as well. And those are kind of the genres that I listen to most of the time. And then I'll listen to a lot of I listen to David Phelps a lot. And he has a mixture. But I do throw in some rock and some metal here and there, a little bit of dance, a little bit of pop. But another one that kind of I listen to a genre of however you want to classify it is Van Morrison. I like Van Morrison a lot. Hey Ty, good night. Sorry you had to leave a little early. All right, let's see what else we got. It's nice to talk to you. Sadly, it's almost 3 a.m., so you have to go to bed. Whew. that is that is early in the morning for sure. Um, Best IEMs for listening to Back in Black and Highway to Hell. Depending on your budget, a fun one to listen to for that is actually the 7 Hertz Legato. They do a really good job with just like driving at home. It's a fun factor. If you want to spend some money, the Zen's Mangird top are insanely good with ACDC. Absolutely love them with ACDC. They really pound it home. Um, those would probably be my two favorites. Another one that you could throw in there that isn't quite as bassy as the Legato and has a little bit more forward mid is the Tri Meteor. That's another one that sounds really good with ACDC. The Orvetti OH400 does really well with metal and hard rock signatures. All right, let's see here. By the way, I love ACDC. So, uh, one of my favorite bands. All right, let's see. Ahmad, do you think dynamic drivers are outdated compared to planars? Nope. I just think they're different. Planars, are kind of, especially if we're talking IEMs. Planars have been around a long time, but as far as with IEMs, they're kind of new to the picture. But that doesn't mean that dynamics are out. Dynamics are going to be around for a long time. They just do a different type of sound and a little bit better in certain ways. Cheeky, it's almost 1 o'clock in the morning in London. Whew. Sorry to keep you all up so late. Excuse me. Let's see. Yeah, that's a good advice, Christopher. So, you want something based around the development of the technology of the time for dynamic drivers with a gentle U-shaped curve for ACDC. That's actually a pretty solid device. I also find some hybrids do really good too. Let's see. Let's see. Damo Arigato, Mr. Elgato. Spelled different, but yes, same. I see what you're doing there. RM, good night. Thank you for swinging by. All right, so although a preset of a rock EQ on any player you have can help, that's true. If you mess around with EQ, um, sometimes the rock ones will kind of alter some. If your IM kind of sounds funky, it might work for you. Some definitely presets are better than others. I will say that. Uh, let's see. Given the chance, you're a night owl. Oh, that's good. All right, we can start the stream later on. Let's see. Gil Reynard. I love the old Blue Note from the late 1950s and early 60s, but lately I've had to admit many aren't up to the production standards of today. Blue Note from the 50s and 60s. Cool. Let's see, Keith. Bears are good with Akadaka, as the Aussies call them. I saw them in Blossom in Cleveland, where they did the Heat Seeker tour. Oh, nice. Not a strong album, but they had plenty of previous hits to pull. Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. If I were to change the Mytek Liberty DAC, what would you go to? Um, hmm, probably an R2R. Something like EF400. Something along those lines, or I would go to a Matrix. Um, Kind of like those type, but they're not as reference as the Mytek. And since I am reviewing, I would prefer to use something that's a little bit more reference. But for personal listening, I'd probably go with something a little bit warmer, truthfully. All right, let's see here. Yeah, ACDC, because I figured that out. Blue Note albums. Okay, gotcha. How much was the Mytek? Let's see. I believe they're 1,500 for both, but they're both you can get them on sale. I thought I saw them; they were on sale for 1,250. You can get them as a stack. I believe it's for 2,500. I could be mistaken on their website, but you can also get open box. I bought mine used, lately used off of eBay. Got a really good deal on mine. Um, and also, if you go to like Headphone Classifieds, you might find one over there. They're kind of rare, but you might find one. The Liberty DAC 2 I bought brand new, and then the HPA I did buy used. All right, let's see here. Um, Cheeky, my current plan for a DAC amp is the C750 and the is it the Violetric 1200 for headphone? Oh, wait, oh, Canadian 750. Gotcha. Canadian 1200. Wondering about future upgrades. Gotcha. Yeah. Um, the oh, GPP. Sorry, I'm not up on all the abbreviations. Oh, it's getting dark out. Um, let's see. You got plenty of options in that price point. There, you just have to kind of know what you're seeking as far as sound, and then really do your research, and understand where reviewers are, and how they explain things, and what they consider to be warm, what they consider to be bright, what they consider, things like that. And then you can make a good decision. If you can hear the pairing first, highly recommend that. Being in London, you might have some opportunities there. There might be some audio shops around. I'm not sure. All right, let's see. What do you think of chi-fi? Got plenty of chi-fi. I don't really like that term, but I have no issue with it. I mean, I get gear all the time from Linsel, Hi-Fi Go, Keep Hi-Fi, other brands. So there you go. There's your answer. I do prefer personally, as just a consumer, to use local sources as much as possible, and to support the locals as much as possible, the local economy. Um, but I'm not going to say don't support other, you know, places either. So it's wherever it sounds the best. Let's see. Chris Gerhardt, if you're going to listen to Ella, is that Ella Fitzgerald? Um, for jazz, I would stick with my MyTech, truthfully. Let's see. Do you burn in your equipment before reviewing them? Yes, I actually have a video where I talked about my review process. That's changed just a little bit. Um, but I put at least 40 hours on everything that I listen to: headphones, IEMs, amps, and DACs. I put them through a solid listening. If it needs more than that, if I feel like it, I put it on there. Do I think it always makes a difference? No. In fact, it's really rare that I hear a difference, but some things do definitely change. But I just do it for a process and consistency. All right, let's see. Cheeky, a few years down the road, totally understand, but you might as well start doing your research. There's no reason to look around, and keep your eyes and ears open for um, while you're saving up, because something might come up while you have them. If it fits what you're looking for. All right, let's see here. Uh, okay, so you're asking what I am if I was to listen to Sarah Vaughan, or are you asking Sarah Vaughan? I didn't see a Sarah Vaughan in the thing. Trying to think. Sarah Vaughan, Sarah Vaughan, Sarah Vaughan. Have I heard Sarah Vaughan? I don't recognize the name. Give me a second. Songwhip.com. Sarah Vaughan. I probably recommended her, but I just don't recall. Who does. Sarah Vaughan sings George Gershwin. Okay. For that type of music, again, for IEMs, depending on price point, you've got the Moondrop Kato, which is very, very good for that style of music. And um, going up in price, you could probably go with like a Zen's Mangard top. I'm sorry, not top, a T2. JQ 4U Pro would be very good for Sarah Vaughan for a more neutral and natural sound. Um, Stuff like that. You wouldn't want something that has a lot of heavy bass or that is really elevated in the treble. You'd want something a little bit more neutral and natural. It will give you the best presentation of her. Let's see. Blink. Before Chi-Fi, I was listening to crappy department store earphones, so it was great for me. Yeah, totally. And I think a lot of probably people have the same experience. You know, you're just either buying beats or you're buying skull candies or something along those lines. Which there's nothing wrong with that type of listen, but when you hear something that is a totally different tuning, it really reveals things and it opens your eyes. And whether or not it's made in America or made in England or made in Germany or made in China or made in wherever, um, there's just something different to the sound, and it's all about enjoyment. Let's see. Okay, let's see. Ahmad, what was the most odd snake oil you experienced in your audio journey? That would that would be cables, actually. I was at an audio show, and some of the more pricey, I don't want to mention the name, but some of the more pricey vendors were there selling their cables, and oh, this is going to blow your mind. It's going to give you so many details you've never heard before, and it's going to just be the most wide soundstage and blah, 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 all this kind of stuff. And I'm going to give you the stock cable, and I'm going to put on this $5,000. I can't remember exactly how much the cable was, but $5,000 cable, and you're going to just be totally mind blown and speechless at what you hear. And I wasn't. So I think cables is probably where the snake oil goes. Now there were a lot of other things that were sold at those audio shows, like magnets. There was like these type of, if you put the, like if you have like a turntable, like a stand that your turntable sits on, if you put these like little magnets or rocks, I can't remember what it was exactly, right up next to it, removes all the vibrations. If you do the blah, blah, all this kind of, there's all kinds of snake oil stuff that you're just like, you got those owl ears if you can hear that difference, because I sure don't. But anyways, let's see what else. Did I try the 660 S2? No, I have not heard the S2. Heard good things about it. A lot of people like it. Say it's a little bit different of a tuning, but it's an improvement. Do you stream music? And if you do, what service do you use? I do stream music. I don't stream it very often. I try to stay away from it as unless I am in portable mode. And that is the streaming service that I use is Amazon HD. But most, probably about 90% of my listening experience is with downloaded music. Let's see. Christopher, KZ, despite the controversial topics they're involved with, they've had a helping hand in breaking up the monopoly pre existing OEMs had. It was when KZ first came out that people realized that. Yeah, absolutely. Um, let's see. Keith. Cheeky Fest needs to tell his countrymen to stop pricing their audio stuff so high because it's good. I used to own a Lin Ikemi? Ikemi? Hmm. Never, haven't heard of that one. That's true. The British do um, price their stuff rather high, for sure. But that can be said about other countries too. So I get it. Um, let's see. Do you still fully understand. Headphones or IMs have burn-in factor. Um, took more than 4 hours. I think you may put your time into many more things to do. Um, okay, as I explained, I do it to be consistent, and I do it as a process, and I am listening to them as it happens. There's very few times that I actually ever hear a difference. And do I really believe in burn in? Sure, I think it does happen. I think there is a scientific enough proof that there is a break in period. But is it 2 minutes or is it 200 hours? I mean, you read some of the paperwork that comes with some of this gear that you get, it'll say 250 play hours before you make any assessments. That's a lot of friggin' time to listen to a product, and you for sure are not going to remember what it sounded like when you first got it. So, is there a lot of debate? Is there a lot of, I guess you could use snake oil wording when it comes to burn in? Sure, but I do it to be consistent. Okay, let's see here. I watched a video that mentioned a box for 10K with crystals in. Oh yeah, uh, I haven't. There's so many things. I mean, if you put this rock, you know, 8 inches away from your base of your speaker, or you put this on top of your speaker, it has to be exactly in the middle, or it has blah blah blah. You know, whatever. There's so many stupid beliefs. Now, who knows? Maybe the person that is selling it truly believes that they had that experience. I bet you 99.99999% of the consumers that pay the money don't hear it. They just go, yep, 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 I hear it. But they truly don't. But I can't prove that. That's just me. All right, let's see. Do you ever listen to tube equipment? Well, I have a tube amp. It's kind of, you can kind of see it right here. I have a Tor Audio Roger. So yeah, I do use tubes. Very rarely, but I do use them. And it kind of depends on what I'm listening to, but it's not my go-to amplifier, and it's not my go-to sound. Can't remember the name of it though. Okay, yeah. If you can find that and you purchase that box of crystals, send it my way. I'll test it for you. All right, let's see here. Let's see. All right, yeah. Let's see. Oh yeah, the April Fool's John Darko audio where he did the plants. That was pretty funny. He did a good job on that video. Um, so why don't I like the topping A90? So the reason why I don't like the topping A90 is it is measured and tuned to be absolutely flat. And flat is not natural, and flat is not neutral. Flat is flat, and flat makes everything sound flat. And that's not correct. And so it just doesn't sound proper. All right, let's see here. Um, Wave Theory also didn't like the A90. Interesting. So yeah, there's flat's not correct. For it's used for certain purposes in mixing, mastering, and in sound reproduction as far as the actual reproduction process and the building process of the actual music. But it is not how gear should sound in replay. And when you have something that's measured completely flat and tuned to be flat, it's going to make your music sound flat. Hence the reason why the majority of people that use the A90 and live by the A90, guess what they do? EQ. All right, let's see here. Best film scores. Best film scores. Let's see. I'll tell you what. I'll put this. The composers. So I love James Newton Howard. I also love James Horner and Hans Zimmer. Those are probably my three favorite scorers. As far as Now I love a lot of other ones. A lot of classic ones like Jerry Goldsmith was awesome. Probably because he does Rambo, and I loved Rambo movies. But anyways, um, one of the newer ones that implements a lot of like electronic in with it is Brian Tyler. I really like Brian Tyler a lot. Also, there's a lot of really good composers, but those are kind of like my faves, I guess you could say. All right, let's see here. You were one of the few that was honest about the A90. Everyone was hyping it, which seems sus to me. Yeah, I mean, it was totally, it was very suspect as to why. And if you truly understand a reviewer and you know where they're coming from and what they do when they're listening to music, I'm very open about it. Okay. What I listen to, how I do it, and all that kind of stuff. If you truly understand where the reviewer is coming from, you would understand that most of them EQ it. And why do you have to EQ the A90? Because it's flat and it sounds bleh. Okay, so let's see here. Uh, uh, Ahmad, I like your audio philosophy. You're the best. Well, glad. And thank you very much for the kind words. I'm glad that you enjoy the channel content. Let's see. Matthew, okay, you answered my question indirectly about the Mytech headphone amp and if it sounds flat. Does not sound flat. The Mytech has a little bit of this going on. It's neutral and natural, but it's not flat. There's a difference. Danny Elfman, he's actually a really good composer too. He does some very interesting takes on music. Like he'll add in some different like instruments and things. Hans Zimmer does that a little bit too. He used some unique ones. James Horner also did that. He used a lot of um, the time period that the movie's in. He would find instruments that were popular in that time period very well. Um, but yeah, I like Danny Elfman. He's good. He's got some interesting ways of doing scores. So sometimes a lot of scores will just kind of sound the same. You always have the dramatic music during a fight scene, or things like that. Danny would kind of add a little bit of flair to it, which I kind of liked. Yeah, Elfman and Burton movies was actually really good. All right, so let me go back. I missed a couple things here. Let's see, 830 Pro. I have not heard the original. The original I did. The 830 was a little bit more like cold and brittle sounding, whereas the A90 is just flat and it has a very dark background, but it had no life, nothing. There was nothing to it. Whereas like the A30 was a little bit too cold and made everything sound brittle and tinny and shiny, and ugh, didn't like either one. All right, let's see here. All right, if a DAC or amp measures flat with no distortion, you can EQ it the way you want. Something that distorts sound might not be possible to EQ as much. True, but here's the thing: if something is truly a neutral and natural sound, you won't need to EQ because it's portraying the music properly. You if it's correct and it sounds neutral and natural, you shouldn't have to EQ it or fix it. It should be as you believe that recording should sound. All right, let's see here. Alan Silvestri, the Predator score. That's a good score. Very rare to find now. If you can find a place that you can download it, let me know. That is a very good score, actually. Let's see here. Goldsmith, or yeah, Jerry Goldsmith did L.A. Confidential and Star Trek. Yes. He also did the original three Rambos. He also did a really good Jerry Goldsmith. It's 13th Warrior. That's an amazing soundtrack. It's kind of funny though because it's a Viking movie. It's not really Viking music, but it still has a great score. Kind of mismatches with the movie. Um, all right, let's see here. Yeah, Goldsmith did a lot of Star Trek stuff. Him and Alexander Courage were some of the originals for Star Trek. Um, well, of course, Alexander Courage wrote the theme, but Jerry Goldsmith did a lot of the original stuff, plus all the movies, most of the movies, it was put that way, and some of the newer stuff. All right, let's see here. Not the newest Star Trek movies, though. That was Michael Gioni. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Very good guy, though. All right, let's see here. Um, yeah, the Batman. With what's his name? Burton, Elfman, and then let's see. After Christopher Masoon, after a discussion a while back we had, I got the Burson Audio chips for my Little Bear B4X. Okay, the sound has improved greatly. So I wonder if you've ever considered adjusting your equipment at any point. Little Bear B4X, that's a little portable one, right? And you can change the op amps out. Yeah, I mean, I'd be curious to test it. I wouldn't do it with anything that's loaned to me, but unless they sent me op amps. Now, the Playmate 2, when Burson sent that, they sent in op amps, and it was kind of interesting to see how it changed things. Let's see. Let's see. John Barry, he was good. Dances with Wolves, Chaplin, Born Free, Out of Africa. Very good scores, absolutely. Um, Also, a little bit of James Bond. All right, let's see here. Neutral isn't neutral or natural. Neutral is they play together, in my opinion. Let's see, I'm currently thinking Aria Stealth, Cheeky is, and A30 Pro D30. I would probably go with something. If you're going with Aria Stealth, I'd go a little higher up. Um, but do keep in mind, I'm very open about. I'm not a topping fan, so um, let's see. Also ponder some of the one box options. Again, I don't know if I'd go topping. For that price tag, you could go with something that's in your country. You could go with IFI. That would be a little bit better, in my opinion. Let's see. Okay. So you got the La La Land CD. Oh well. I might have to look at that. Research them, see if I can come up with something. I'm sure it's around. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 million. The problem about chi-fi gear is they chase measurements to a fault. We don't listen to a single frequency like measuring gear does. Music is made of multiple frequencies at once. Yeah, that's one of the issues when you have when you do chase measurements and graphs and things like that. You're missing out on the natural aspect, and a lot of times their gear, whether it be IEMs, headphones, even DACs and amps, just don't quite have that everyday type of sound. Um, let's see, Matthew, what would I be hearing if I upgrade from the Mojo One for your IEM? Since IEMs don't need much power, I haven't heard of Mojo One in several years. So I'm probably not the best for that. Um, you might get a little bit less warmth, depending on what you go with. The Mojo tends to be just a little bit warm, in my opinion, from what I remember. Let's see. Yeah, cheeky. I mean, that's the best thing you can do. Save, 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 and then find what you want. Make sure you have your research and buy from a credible source. All right, let's see. Uh, which IFI, depending on price point, I would go with anything that has signature on it. Micro IDSC signature. Diablo's really good. The Griffin wouldn't be a bad option. Um, things like that. The older IFI stuff is really warm and very lush sounding. The signature stuff has been deeply, great, like not deeply, but greatly improved as far as clarity and not as warm sounding. They're more neutral sounding, with a hint of warmth still. Um, the Zen HFM is good. I don't know how it would pair with the Aria Stealth, um, but I do find that the kind of themed DACs and amps with IFI have been very good with the pairings, but I do not recall the Aria Stealth um, with the Zen HFM. I don't know 100% for sure what that would sound like. But the Meze one was really good with the Mezes that I had at the time I did that review. 2,500 or so would be about your limit. With the Aria Stealth coming in around half that, you definitely could get a pretty good DAC amp setup. When you say lush, do you mean it as a criticism? um, if it's touting it as being a reference sound, yes. If it's more like an enjoyable, just everyday listening type of sound, no. Um, it, it can be a criticism, but it also can be this is really comfy and just enjoyable. So it kind of depends on the scenario that Lush is being used in. Yeah, Aria comes in around 1,200. So if you're gonna have a budget of about 25, 2,000, 2,500, I don't recommend maxing out credit cards. Then you would have enough wiggle room for a pretty decent setup. All right, so told my wife I was going to try to do a 90-minute live stream. Got about 5 minutes here, so if you have any other questions, comments, concerns, now's your time. So yeah, Griffin comes in around 600. So yeah, that would be a very good option for you. I think the Chord products are a little overpriced, and the color ball thing is weird. Glad I'm not colorblind and have one. Yeah, that would be a little problem. So you could probably learn, by positioning, by feel, for the ball. As far as pricing, yeah, Chord is rather pricey for sure. And do you still have the IFI power station? No, that got sent back after the review. You're welcome, Cheeky, for the tips. Hopefully, you find them helpful, and look forward to hearing your journey and what you come up with. Thank you for everybody swinging by. I do greatly appreciate it. Much appreciated. Um, yeah, it was a very nice chat. Thank you very much for the questions, and you guys, we'll catch up a couple weeks or so doing another one of these, and you all have yourself a great time. Oh, what is my microphone? The microphone is a Rode Podcaster, the USB version. So you're welcome for the stream, and you all have yourself a great night. We'll catch up again, and thank you for swinging by. Goodbye.